Hi guys, it's SimLicy here, so welcome to another speed build. So today I am building another family home, and this time I am building a base game and kit only house. I thought it would be nice to showcase the kits because we have quite a few build kits, and I'm just realizing that I did not put a vacuum in this build, and I totally should have because I didn't use anything from Bust the Dust, I don't think. But anyways, I wanted to showcase the building kits because recently we got the Blooming Rooms kit, and honestly that's probably the one I use the most next to the Country Kitchen kit because that one comes with like a lot of really good clutter. The one that I used the least, well, I guess the one that I used the least was the Bust the Dust one because I didn't put a vacuum in here, but the other one that I used the least was the Moroccan themed one. I think it's called Courtyard Oasis, if I'm remembering correctly. That one I didn't really get too much of a chance to use. I think I used the plant a couple of times that came with that pack, but really that is very style specific, and this is very suburban and not very Moroccan or even anywhere close to that style. So it didn't quite fit in, but I hope you guys will like this build. I was honestly not very sure how it was going to turn out because all of the kits are very different. I mean, some of them I think go together pretty well. Other ones are, you know, I just really wasn't sure how it was going to turn out, but I actually really like this house. I think it's so cute, and I think there's lots of personality to it, especially in like the kitchen area. And I was even able to use the industrial loft kit quite a bit. I used the windows, of course. They're beautiful. I also used the open door that's like the like sliding door that's always open. I wish there was a closed version so bad. That would have been amazing, but I used it as the back door because I did that in a recent build maybe like a few weeks ago or something. I forget how long ago that build was, but I used it as the back door in that build, and it was just so pretty. It was in Hinford on Bagley, so of course like the views of the like rolling farm fields and like the lighting and stuff just looked so pretty. But it looks really nice here in Newcrest as well. But of course, if you have other worlds besides the base game worlds, I'm sure you guys could find somewhere really pretty to put this house. But I just love having the open door to the backyard. And like on this build, you can see the swimming pool and the greenhouse a little bit, and it's so pretty. And I just like that sort of kind of like open feel, but I wish there was a closed version because you're not always gonna want an open back door. So yeah, it's kind of unfortunate because I don't think we'll ever get a refresh to any of the kits because they're so small. I imagine the priority would be very, very low, and who knows if we'll ever get any more refreshes in general. They did the spa day refresh, but I haven't heard any news about doing any other refreshes, so we'll see. If they don't do any more, that's going to be very unfortunate because I think there are some packs that could really benefit for some refreshes, and it would get people reinterested in them, and honestly it'll get me reinterested in them so I could like maybe do different things building wise. But anyways, as you can see, the shape of the house is coming together. This house actually came together really quickly. I was looking at a picture that I found on Pinterest, and thank you to those of you who are on my Patreon page that I shared this inspiration with and kind of like my build idea. And if you guys are interested in supporting me over there, I will have a link in the description box. I have kind of basic tiers right now. I'm just starting it. I'm trying to do a few different things, and yeah, it's one of the things that I'm working on right now. So if you guys are interested, of course, no obligation and don't feel like you have to, but if you are interested, I will have a link. And I also recently made merchandise. I was looking on this old laptop that I had, and I had dabbled around with creating merchandise about a year ago, and then for some reason I didn't like really what I was making, and I was looking back on that old laptop and I was like, no, I was doing a good job. And so I decided to put some pieces together, and yeah, hopefully you guys like them. And thank you to those of you who have already made a couple of purchases. I'm really excited to possibly make more. And of course, if you guys have any suggestions for either one of those, if you guys have any ideas for merchandise, or if you have any suggestions for tiers on Patreon, I'm definitely very interested in hearing, and I want to offer things that you guys are wanting or things that you guys would be interested in seeing more of, or you know, just things that I could offer on those types of avenues, I guess. But yeah, I'm just really excited to be doing a couple of different things, and I am going to be working on my base game renovation series. I started to renovate the the Spencer Kim Lewis family's home, and what is wrong with that house? It is like the most impossible house. I tried doing something a little bit different and it wasn't really working for me, so I'm gonna try again. So that kind of took up my time last week trying to renovate that one, and it wasn't very successful, so I don't have a video out on that series at the moment. So I'll probably be working on something that's a little bit more manageable in the meantime, but I definitely want to get to that one because a lot of you guys seemed really interested in seeing what I could do with that house, and I'm definitely really interested, but I need to kind of like maybe find some better inspiration images and some ideas, and I'm gonna have to think on this one for a little while because their house looks like a school and the shape of it is very weird, and a lot of you guys did want me to stick to the modern theme, so I want to do that because I already built a very traditional home for that lot for my save file, so I think doing something completely different would be the better way to go. That way it's not very repetitive, and also just to kind of challenge myself because I don't do a lot of modern builds, so I think it could be fun, but I don't know how to just tackle that house in general. So yeah, I wanted to mention that in case you guys were curious because I don't want to stop that series. I really like that. So since it's been like a week or so, I didn't want to think, or didn't want you guys to think that I was slowing down on it because I'm working on it. I'm just slow. So anyways, here you can see I'm working on the backyard. So since I am using the kits, I knew of course that I was going to be using the Blooming Rooms kit and there would be lots of plants to use. I decided to build a greenhouse in the backyard and I think it looks so cute. It's very simple. It's just like a nice little simple box greenhouse, which I think probably most greenhouses are that shape, so I guess it's not that simple, but I thought it looked really cute back here, and I also get an outdoor dining table, just one of these nice base game umbrella tables, and then I put some monkey bars out here, a barbecue, as well as, what else do I get back here? I think I ended up putting a woodworking table on the back porch as well, just to add another activity, and a couple of lounge chairs too. And I kind of shuffle things around a little bit, trying to figure out exactly how I want to place things. But I think it ends up looking really cute, and I also really enjoyed the landscaping on this build. I used some different hedges that I don't normally use. I recently used these ones in a build that I did for Bonehilda, and I had just realized that I never used those hedges before, and the only reason I used them is because they were in the surrounding neighborhood in the Glimmerbrook world. I think that's right. I think I called it Glimmerbrook for like the longest time or something kind of similar to that, but I messed up the name for the longest time. But yeah, I saw those hedges in the surrounding area to the lot that I was building on, and yeah, I used them in that build and they're really nice, so I used them here too. But yeah, here I'm working on the greenhouse. So of course in the greenhouse you will see lots of decorations from the Blooming Room kit, like this really nice plant stand. My Reshade does make it look a little bit weird because I have the MXAO settings that really highlight the transparent surroundings to some of the meshes, which is pretty unfortunate. I wish they weren't there because it does bother me quite a bit. But hopefully it doesn't bother you guys as much as it bothers me, but I still think it looks good. And that stand is really nice, and I love the rubber boots and the hats, and I really wish that those would have just came as their own items that would like the hat could snap to a wall and then you could hang it wherever you want to, or the boots could just be their own decoration and you could put them next to the front door, the back door, or anywhere really. It would be amazing. Although I did see that a winged llama, that's the name that they go by, separated a lot of the plants that came stuck to a lot of these surfaces and some of the different objects that came in that kit, but I don't know if the boots were separated, or that watering can that's hanging is also really adorable. But anyways, here I'm just finding some decorations to clutter up the plant stand. Unfortunately, it is not functional. I did see some people asking about that on Twitter, so it doesn't work like the plant stand or the flower arranging table that came from Seasons. It's just purely decorative. So mostly this greenhouse is very just decorative because a lot of the plants are just decoration plants, but I do put a couple of planter boxes in here so you could grow some actual harvestable plants, but just a couple of them. Of course, if you wanted to add more, you definitely could, but I just kind of got carried away adding decorations, so there's only 2 in here, but I think they look really nice, and I think it's a nice little greenhouse. And then of course back here there is a swimming pool. The swimming pool is very simple. There's not really that much to say about it. Of course, if you have Seasons, then you have or no, it's not Seasons. It's do any pool floaties come with Seasons? No, I don't think they do. I think it might just be Island Living. I think I'm remembering that correctly. But either way, if you have one of those packs, whichever one comes with the pool floaties, you could add them in the swimming pool. Yeah, I think this is it for the backyard. I'm just adding some terrain paint. Of course, I really like adding terrain paint to like underneath the plants with this Reshade that I'm using. It's called Dove, in case you guys haven't heard me talk about it before. I have it linked in the description box, but it does add a little bit of a shadow because of that MXAO setting that I was talking about. But I think adding just the terrain paint creates a lot more depth and makes things look like they actually belong in the places that I put them. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but I really like the way it looks. So if you're ever struggling with landscaping looking complete, I would definitely recommend some terrain paint. I think it helps a lot. But anyways, here I'm moving on to the interior. So the interior actually came together really easily. I wasn't sure about like a few of the rooms. I thought the living room was going to be a little bit awkward because the placement of the fireplace I felt like was going to be a little bit strange for placing like the couches and stuff. And I also wasn't sure about using the industrial furniture, but I think I made it work. It was a little bit tricky actually using the kits because I was really trying to prioritize using kit decorations over using base game decorations. And yeah, it was kind of tricky, but I think I made it work. So I'm very curious to hear what you guys have to say about this, and let me know if you guys have made your own kit homes as well. I'd be very curious to know. But another thing that I wasn't really sure about with this floor plan was the open room that I have behind the living room. I end up separating off a bathroom in there, and then the large room, I wasn't really sure what I was going to do in there. I thought about making a playroom, but what I ended up doing is actually making an office, and I think that worked really nicely. And then also the room on well, this side of the house where I'm placing the doors right here, I wasn't sure what I was going to do in this room as well, but what I ended up doing is creating another sort of like plant room. So the Sims that live here are very, very obsessed with plants, at least the parents of this home or the parent. I'm not really sure if there's one or two, but of course, depending on the family that you guys see living here, either one would work because I think it doesn't really matter too much. There's plenty of room in this build, and honestly, there could even be more room. I make the floor plan a little bit simpler on the second floor, but I think I had 5 bedrooms originally on the second floor, and then I decided that I really wasn't liking the floor plan, so I made it 4 bedrooms instead of the 5. So right here you can see that there are 5 bedrooms. Okay, I had to count for a second. I was thinking I was messing up, but yeah, so originally I had 2 bathrooms up here and 5 bedrooms, which could totally work, but I just felt like some of the bedrooms were going to be a little bit too small, and then also kind of I wasn't sure how I was going to decorate them, and then I also felt like the bathroom was going to be too small too. So because I knew I wanted to have a toddler, and with a toddler you need a toddler potty, and then when bathrooms are on the smaller side, sometimes I can't fit the toddler potty inside the bathroom, and then I have to put it somewhere like their bedroom, and that's just gross, and I don't want to do that. So yeah, I think the floor plan that I ended up doing works a lot better, but I leave that one for now, and you'll also see like a little bit of a reconfiguration of the floor plan here in just a little bit. It's not really like a big difference, but I wanted to leave all that in. That way you guys could see what I was doing in case you wanted to rework the floor plan for yourselves, in case you have like a larger family living here, or I don't know, you just want to do something different with the floor plan, then you can see the options that I was doing. Of course, there's probably a lot of different ways to do the floor plan, especially on the second floor. It seemed pretty easy, but anyways, here you can see I'm working on the living room, and like I was saying, I wasn't sure about the industrial furniture, but I think I made it work, and I think it looks so cute in here with the plants and the bookcases, and also I end up using just white walls. I am just really not enjoying the wallpapers at the moment. I feel like a lot of the colors are either too bright or too similar to like the wood tones, and I don't know, I'm struggling with them, especially using base game, and I've been using base game quite a bit recently with my base game renovations and then this build, and so, but honestly, I really don't feel like there's that many good wallpapers that come in other packs either. So hopefully maybe we'll get like a wallpaper kit. That would be really cool. So yeah, let me know if you guys struggle with that as well. But I think especially since I've been playing around with a lot more custom content and the wallpapers are so good that it's making it even harder to use the in-game wallpapers. So yeah, it's one of the struggles, but Anyways, over here is going to be the kitchen. So like I was talking about, I really wasn't sure about using the kits. And so I placed the stove and refrigerator from the country kitchen kit, not really sure if I was going to leave them here, but I ended up leaving them, and I think they're so cute, and I think they add so much personality, and especially all of like the clutter and stuff that came with the country kitchen kit as well, but also the blooming rooms kit. I added a lot of plants in here. Really, the whole build has so many plants, but I absolutely love it. Like, this is like the type of house that I would decorate for myself. It's just like plants everywhere. Would be so amazing. I really enjoy having plants inside. Like, I feel like it makes a home feel so just cozy and close to like nature, and it just makes me feel good. Let me know if you guys agree. But anyways, I add a couple of shelves in here, and I put some decorations on here. I love these little canisters that came from the country kitchen kit, and they stack so nicely on shelves. And I also really like that a lot of the plants that came from the blooming room kits, at least the smaller ones, fit really nicely on shelves too, because a lot of the times you'll see something that looks like it belongs on a shelf and it doesn't fit. Like the base game books that look like they would fit so nicely on a shelf don't fit at all. And so it seems so crazy to me. But yeah, I also really liked using that like herb tray that came from the Blooming Rooms kit. I used that on the stove here, and I'm so happy that it actually looked pretty good, because I wasn't sure, because the stove does have that really high back, and so I wasn't sure how they were going to clip together and if it was going to look awkward, but I think it actually looks really good. So yeah, I was really happy about that. And then over here is going to be the dining room, and I really thought about using that plant curtain, I think is what you call it, but it didn't quite work in here. I was able to make it work in an apartment that I did recently, and I liked it there, but I really don't think I'm going to get a whole lot of use out of that plant, because it seems like kind of an odd decoration and very like specific to only certain types of styles. So we'll see how much I end up using it. But I think it's really cute, and I like the swatches. I actually really appreciate the number of variety of like the variations to the leaf colors. I think it makes them so much more usable. And even like the hanging plants, some like the shapes of the leaves are different. Like they have some that are more like pothos shapes, and some that are more like a philodendron, like more of that like heart shaped. So it's so cool. But yeah, anyways, over here I have this room, and so I really wanted to place this decoration in here, but I wasn't sure how to place it, and then like I thought I would like block the windows. And so what I ended up doing is actually moving it to the parents' bedroom, and I think this worked so much better because I was able to actually make this room a little bit smaller, and that's where the bathroom ends up being. And I thought that the parents could have like removed their closet to make room for more plants, basically, because they just love having plants inside so much that they wanted to bring more into their bedroom. And so they figured that they didn't need their closet and they could just have more room for plants. And so I thought that was a fun idea. But yeah, in here, basically, I just create like a plant room. I don't know what you would call it. It's more like a workshop or an office for plants. I don't know if one of like the parents like actually works as like a flower arranger or some sort of like plant sculptor. Like I was thinking maybe they made these lights themselves, or some of like the different decorations that have like the plants and the tables. I didn't end up using a lot of them because the glass on them is very like bluish, and it felt kind of like too modern, I guess, and like it didn't really fit in this build, but they're pretty cool. I'm not really sure how much I would use those either, but maybe the family that lives here, or the parents, or one of them makes stuff like that and does like plant sculptures. I think that's a pretty fun idea. So let me know if you guys like that, or if you see another sort of sim living here, or maybe you think of a different idea for this room. Honestly, if you have the nifty knitting kit, or no, it's not a kit, it's a stuff pack. If you have that stuff pack, then you could turn this into like a crafting room really easily, and you could really even leave the same number of plants and just swap out some of the items for some crafting supplies. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, other than that, I really don't know. Maybe a playroom if you didn't want to go with the whole plant thing. But over here, I did think about making this a playroom. So you'll see that I placed like the dollhouse and like one other object, but I just felt like it was looking a little bit awkward. I mean, probably if I would have like pushed on and kept adding decorations, then I could have made this like a full-on playroom. But I decided I wanted an office because I really wasn't sure where else I was going to place a computer. I ended up putting one in the teenagers' room, but I wanted one that was more like for the whole family to use or the parents to use. So I felt like this worked a little bit better for an office space, and then I was able to fit in more plants too, which is really nice. And I don't think I would have been able to fit as many plants in if I made it a playroom, because I always feel a little bit weird about putting plants around play areas, which totally doesn't really matter for The Sims, but it still feels a little bit weird. But anyways, I think it makes a nice office space like I was saying, and I was able to use this plant stand again. I used it in the greenhouse, but I think it's just such a cute stand and the plants look so nice on it, and I think it's just so adorable. But yeah, over here I thought about adding a art easel, but then I felt like having it next to the bathroom door would be a little bit weird, so I ended up not doing that, and I just moved over the door slightly and added another hanging plant. A couple of times when placing this plant, I used a couple of them and like merged them together to make the plant look a little bit fuller, and I think it actually looks really nice that way. They overlap really nicely and you can't really tell. It just makes it look like the plant is fuller, and it's super cute. But yeah, over here is going to be the bathroom. So it's the downstairs bathroom. There's two other ones upstairs. There's one for the children to share, and then there's an ensuite bathroom. All of the bathrooms are very similar, but I think they're different enough that they don't feel like the exact same bathroom. Of course, they're different shapes, so that helps as well. Sometimes when I have bathrooms all of the exact same shape, then I feel like I end up just making them all look the same. And so it can get kind of repetitive and not very interesting really. But anyway, so here I'm moving on to the second floor, and the hallway, I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do in here. So really I just placed like a couple of plants, a clock, and I think a bookcase, and I think that's it. So yeah, it's not that exciting, but really it's just a hallway, and hopefully your Sims won't spend too much time in the hallway because that probably wouldn't be very interesting gameplay. But yeah, over here is going to be the parents' bedroom. I did think about using the bed that came from the industrial loft kit, but I really wanted to use the base game one because it had the leaf pattern on the blanket, and I just thought that fit the build so much better than the industrial one. It was a bit too much industrial, I think. The couches worked, but yeah, I didn't think the bed was going to really look that cute in here, but maybe I could have made it work. Who knows? But anyway, so in here I have that really cool plant decoration with all of the hanging pots on it. I wish all of those pots just came as their own decoration. This item is really cool, but I'm honestly not really sure how often I'm going to use it. It looks interesting though, and I think it works nicely in this build for the story of them like gutting their closet for it. But yeah, I think I would have gotten a lot more use out of it if they were individual objects. But either way, I think their room is super cute, and I end up using this dresser over here because it was nice and thin and it didn't take up a lot of space. So they do have a place to store their clothes still, but their closet is just non-existent anymore. And so I think that's super fun. But there I changed up the swatch. I really like the mossy bottom, but I liked the terracotta pots of the other swatch. So I'm not sure which one I should have kept. I think either one works, but of course that's an easy change if you guys prefer the other one or a different swatch. But here's going to be their ensuite bathroom. I loved hanging that hanging plant in the shower. So cool. So I was so happy to be able to do that. It looks so good in there. But yeah, over here is going to be the counter space. I just cluttered up with a few different bathroom items, trying to make it feel lived in and fully decorated. I honestly spent so much more time on this build than I thought I was going to. I was saying that I wanted to do something that was going to be quick because I hadn't had like a video up in a while, and I have some bigger build ideas in mind. But yeah, I ended up spending a long time on this build. As you guys can tell, it's over 30 minutes with the screenshots. So I think a lot of that had to do with just adding decorations because I spent a long time like cluttering it. And honestly, the house ended up being way bigger than I thought it was going to be. So I'm actually really happy that it was, because I think it ends up being a really fun house, and you could have a lot of different like Sims in here, and you could have a large family or like a smaller family, and there's even room to play around with the floor plan like I was talking about to have more Sims, or you could use like bunk beds and have even more Sims. So I think there's a lot of different possibilities. But yeah, over here is going to be the teenagers room. So for the teenagers room, I tend to like teenagers to be like rebellious when I'm decorating their rooms. It seems to be the personality type that I gravitate towards. And so yeah, this teen is rebellious and they don't like all of the plants in the house. They feel like it's very embarrassing and they think their parents are weird. And so I think that's a fun idea, and it feels very typical for a teenager to think that, you know, no matter what their parents are into, I feel like a teen is always going to be like, oh, you know, my parents are a little bit weird, or they might be embarrassed about certain things. And so yeah, I was thinking that about this teen, and I think this teenager is also really into music and they're into art. And so I ended up using this bar height table that also came from the Industrial Loft kit, and I merged the base game like arts drawer or the paint drawer, whatever you want to call that. I merged it into it and it actually looks pretty good. The cups are kind of like not at the right level, but the cabinet looks nice under it. So I left that there, and I also gave them the digital drawing pad instead of an art easel. I think they have an art easel in their inventory, and maybe they paint at the park or something, or maybe they go to like an art studio and paint there. Or maybe they just plop it down in the middle of their living room and paint whenever they want to. But I figured that they're more into digital art. And so I tried using the leaning art that we got from an update at some point, but I didn't really like it that much. The swatches looked okay, but I wasn't finding one that I really liked. And so I didn't end up using that one. And then I tried using some of the artwork that came in a recent update, but the colors were a bit too bright and colorful. I figured this teen likes more of like blacks and browns and grays, and those ones were just really colorful, so it didn't quite work for me. But then there was another piece of artwork that we got in another update, and it's still colorful, but it looked kind of like edgy enough that I thought the teenager would like that. So you'll see me place it here in just a little while. But here, moving on to the kids' room, and so this kids' room I think is really adorable. It's super fun. There you saw I was just trying to place some of like the more colorful artwork. It wasn't quite working for me, so you'll see me place another one here in just a moment. I was trying to find space-themed artwork to put in this room, and I was thinking that there was more space-themed artwork in base game, but I guess it might have came with Get to Work or something, or a different pack. I wasn't finding what I was looking for, but I think I made it work, and I think this bed is super cute. And yeah, I think this kid just really enjoys space and science, and also science fiction. I gave them the like Harry Potter looking poster, and I also put one in the teenager's room, and so I was thinking it was something that they both like, and maybe they both have read like the books. I was thinking the teenager probably has already read them, and then the kid was now reading them themselves, and so they kind of share that in common, even though they probably don't really have anything else in common. So I thought that was kind of a cute idea. But this is the poster that I was talking about. I ended up using the tool mod to make it lean against the wall like the base game artwork that I was trying to use, or the other base game artwork that I was trying to use. And I thought that looked really nice. But yeah, in here I forgot to continue decorating the bookcases, so you'll see that they're fully decorated in the screenshots. I went to go take the screenshots and realized that I had just stopped decorating that room for some reason. I guess I got distracted or something. But really I just add like some base game frames and I think another stack of books. Nothing too interesting, so hopefully you guys aren't missing that too much. But yeah, over here is going to be the shared bathroom for the kids. So in here, of course, I get, I realized that that plant would look cute in a kid's room, so I placed it really quickly. But yeah, in here I have the shower tub combo, a hanging plant, the sink and counter space. I'm also using the updated colors to the robe and that towel again. I think every time I've used them, besides like a couple of times, I've used it in the green swatch, so I really need to play around with some of the other colors because I think I use them like every time. But yeah, over here is going to be the toddler's room, so I do place a toddler potty in that bathroom, but of course, as always, I forgot about it right now. And I also place a high chair in the dining room here in just a little while. This is another spot where I kind of stopped decorating. I don't know, I think maybe my son was doing something at this time and I needed to go like, I don't know what I got distracted by. I was actually building on my laptop in my living room, and so my husband and my son were both in the room, and so maybe I was just distracted by them. I'm not sure, but either way, the side table next to the bed, I forgot to continue decorating. So in the screenshots, you will see that I placed a couple of decorations on there. Nothing too exciting, but yeah, I don't know, I think it looks cute. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed this build, and hopefully you guys are looking forward to future ones. So thank you guys so much for watching, and please leave any comments or suggestions you have, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye!
Should old acquaintance be forgot, and days of old lang syne, for old We'll talk a cup of kindness yet for days of Auld Lang Syne. And here's a hand, my trusty friend, and here's a hand of thine. We'll talk a cup of kindness yet for Auld Lang Syne. For Auld Lang Syne, my dear, for Auld Lang Syne. We'll talk